This is Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd. Future Focus Worcester is about actionable and forward thinking about the urban development that's taking place right here in the city of Worcester. And we have the good fortune of Jose Rivera. He's joining us here on Future Focus Worcester, where we have an opportunity to ask 3 questions, not only just for him, but also through our series with other different city councils as well. Jose, thank you for joining us on Future Focus Worcester.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. Yeah. Let's get right into it. Sustainable infrastructure and housing is a popular topic right here in the city of Worcester, right?
Yes.
So as Worcester continues to grow, what specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods?
So first, I got to say that being on the job for 3 months, you get right into it. So a lot of things that I've had to, through the weaves and kind of figure out and work through and stuff like that. And one of the things that I think is important to kind of work on those issues that you mentioned, is I want to work with the city manager. I want to work with our chief development officer, which is Peter Dunn. I want to work with the chamber, Craig Blaze from the WBDC, Discover Central Mass. All these entities I want to work with to help promote Worcester, not just for more housing, but for more businesses, for more just kind of get the name out there and stuff like that. Because I think it's important, and I ran on this issue, is I want to bring more businesses to Worcester, and I want to help keep the tax roll as low as possible. And the way you do that is by bringing more businesses to Worcester, and all those entities that I mentioned, which is Peter Dunn and city manager and WBDC and Chamber of Commerce, they all have the same goal as well, and this they want to bring that to the city as well. So it's kind of like I've been meeting and listening and having attending, like I said, the meeting stuff. And I see the direction they're going in, and that's why it's easy to support. For example, I'll jump right into a question that you haven't even asked yet, but we had a McKinney Group situation that came up, that's supporting minority businesses, African-owned business. And one of the things they want to do is they want to renovate and revitalize the downtown project, which I think is huge. Not only for the business, but also for housing and bringing more money to the tax roll to the city of Worcester. So I was happy to be able to support that, because that's exactly what I told the residents when I was knocking on their doors that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. I find yourself to be in a tough situation. 2 points, and I'll bring it up in reference to what you just mentioned.
Sure.
Okay. One is the fact that I've heard numerous times from different people,
sure,
when it comes to bringing new businesses into Worcester, or people that are here that want to expand their business, and it sounds great, and I would repeat this on my left ear, okay? Sure. But then when it goes to going down to the building services, and it goes down to get the permits, when it goes down to the office where you have to get the bring your ideas, and you bring your information pertaining to your business and the building structure and everything else, I'm not sure if it's as welcoming as people perceive it to be prior to going down there. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is, on the left ear, it's like, oh yeah, we want more businesses. Of course, that's going to help the tax base, because more businesses, because they have to pay taxes, it lessens the burden on the residents, okay? But then when you get there, are you getting that welcoming hand from the building department when it comes to get your permits? Are you getting that welcoming hand when they're instructing you or they're assisting you to show you how to get your permit, and also how to perform and get those procurements so they can be approved? And it seems as though it's a different situation. It seems as though that sometimes to get down there, it's a little bit more difficult than what people anticipate it to be.
I've heard that before, and I think the city of Worcester definitely could use I don't know, restructure, if you want to use a word, a way to kind of help streamline the process easier, to make it easier for those. And I've even heard, coming from the city's side, like they know that they should be able to streamline the process and not make it so much harder for developers and for people to sign up for permits, or even the regular folks who want small businesses and stuff like that. It's like they make the process so hard and stringent, and they also know that there's probably a better way that they can make it better. Matter of fact, one of my early petitions and orders that I worked on is the same thing, to do that in the city from the city's perspective, but on the roads, it's like, we should streamline the process quicker. We have handicap signs or stop signs or crosswalks or things that we approve, but then it takes 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to finally put the, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't take so long. Let's streamline the process quicker. And that's what I'm hoping that we move forward shortly, as far as one of the orders that I have out there.
Is that due to the personnel that's operating that entity, or is that due to the political aspect of running an organization of that nature, which shouldn't be
I think
in there when it comes to that?
My opinion, I think it is just years of like, if the city now understands what they need to do. For example, I'll use the city manager right now.
Sure.
He understands the structure that's going on. It hasn't worked for all these years. Let's make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But he also understands, and as the city council understand, we can't do it overnight. We have to work through the weeds to make sure that it happens, correctly. We go through the proper channel, because if we start doing back stuff, then that don't look too good either. What I'm saying?
But the thing about it, more often than not, the stuff is right though.
Yeah.
If you're asked to go out and perform and get that information,
okay,
the person's running around the city getting that information. They come back. They were told to go do that.
Yeah.
They come back. Okay, you got the information. Simple. Stamp it.
Yeah.
Push it. Move it along.
Right.
Well, why does it have to come with extra stuff? Does the guy like the person? Does it not like the person because it was a rainy day, or because it was a cloudy day, or because it's like, why does the other stuff have to come in to slow down the process?
And that's a very good question. And that's the part that I was telling about, that it's been done a certain way for so many years, but doesn't mean that it's correct. Just because it's been done that way for so many years. Okay. I think if we work towards making the process streamlined quicker and better, like you mentioned earlier, then that's the direction the city is moving in. Is it the process
or the personnel?
No, I will say the personnel. We have the right personnel now to help make streamline the process quicker. So that way we're moving the direction, like you're saying, we're not backlogging and we're not making things. So, if we recognize the issue and we're working towards to fix it, then we have the right personnel to make the right moves to move things in a proper forward.
Okay. So going back to the first question again, once again, I asked you sustainable infrastructure and housing as Worcester continues to grow.
Yeah.
What specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development, including affordable housing, while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods? And then you answer that in reference to you're newly appointed.
Yeah.
What district are you in, by the way?
District 5.
District 5.
Yeah.
Newly appointed. This is your second attempt to get into office.
Yes. Right. I ran the first time in 2023. I came up 168 votes short. And then I ran again in 2025, and I was be able to successful.
Okay. And with that, now that you're in there, your process of approaching this is get in, listen, observe, get an understanding on how this whole thing works, and kind of like you'll speak when spoken to, and or you'll like inject when necessary.
Yeah.
When it comes in, and not do a lot of other stuff and things, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how the how I want to approach it. It's like I'm watching a lot what's going on in the meetings, and whether the subcommittee meetings or whether they're in the city council meeting on Tuesday nights, and we're working on getting a lot of stuff done. And one of the things I'm loving is we're working a lot on the Worcester issues, local issues, important things. We're talking about potholes and streets and trash and things that are important to the quality of life issues for the residents. But like I said, if I need to speak on an issue, then I will. But one of the things that I promised my residents in the residents District 5, and I won't get involved in, is the political theatrics. That I'm not gonna just talk and get my TV time. If it's important to the residents and the issue that I put a petition on the order for, that's when I feel I will speak. And then there's another issue that's important for the residents citywide. Whether it's police department, fire department, EMS, or the school or stuff.
It leaves time for that stuff.
There'll be time for that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Second question: economic opportunity. Once again, this is Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd. Joining us is Jose Rivera, City Councilor right here in the City of Worcester, and we're talking about how to move the city forward. And we're going to ask him 3 questions before the segment is done. The second question is economic opportunity. What steps is the council taking to ensure that local, minority-owned, and small businesses directly benefit from the city's ongoing redevelopment projects.
So that's one of the questions that I said I'm going to jump ahead and stuff like that, because the best example I can give you is that we came in, a lot of some of the councilors held the issue because it was such a hot topic. But one of the things that I ran on was that I was going to, like I said, is I want to help bring businesses to the city, help bring more housing to the city, and also increase the tax roll. And I just felt like that McKinney Group project is kind of checked all those boxes. And I understand that they had issue with one of the subcontractors that's being taken care of and worked on, and that's great. But they're also a developer, minority owned developer, who also is working on 4 projects, including the last one that was just approved in the city of Worcester. So I just think it's a plus, that they're bringing jobs, they're creating more businesses for the city, they're helping revitalize the city. And those are the type of things that I want to support, not just for them, but other businesses, whether minority owned or not, as long as they check those boxes, bring businesses, more housing, and help increase the tax roll. Because a lot of the residents are not aware that the more businesses in the city of Worcester, the more adds to the tax roll, the less for them to pay.
Exactly. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And McKee has been in the spotlight. He's a gentleman that's actually originally from Massachusetts. He went to Harvard, and he is now residing in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Has a major real estate company that he developed. He and his father invested in Worcester.
Yeah.
They own a number of buildings on Main Street. Unfortunately, his father passed away several years ago. So whoever would have thought a person of his stature will be investing and developing here in the city of Worcester? That probably would have never been heard of years ago if you'd been here in Worcester as long as we have.
Right. No, and I think it's great, because a lot of people have given up in the city of Worcester, and the key is let's help keep businesses and residents staying in Worcester, and especially our graduates. They graduate, and then we want them to what they've learned and absorb, invest in the city as well. Keep them in the city of Worcester.
Yeah, and he has a number of different projects too. To elaborate on McKee, is the fact that he has the Olympic building right across from the courthouse. He has this old Shacks building too as well. He's developing that. Where the Work Bar is and the new Brazilian restaurant is, Alma Mega, I believe it is. And that whole block right there used to be a sporting goods store, and the youth center was there many years ago. And it's very important, the fact that if he comes in, he's going to do it. Hopefully he does it right, and I think he is going to do it right. And the Denholm building is a major building, which was a state-of-the-art building back in the day, because they were, I believe, the first building that instituted elevators. Not elevators, escalators. At the time. And that building at one time or another in the future is going to be coming down. And when this is, because a lot of nonprofits were in there, and they all moved to Elm Street as well. So we're talking about economic development, talking about how we're going to move the city forward. And in order to do that is we have to invite our city councils and our school committee members and to find out exactly how they're going to move the city forward. And once again, this is why it's called Future Focus Worcester. And joining us is Jose Rivera. And he is going to continue to talk with us when we come back here on Unity Radio on Unity 979. And I'm Ernie Floyd on Worcester's Community Connection.
Telephone man, there's something wrong with my line. What's up, Worcester? I'm Angela Gray, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time.
Hey, what's up, Worcester? It is Jacqueline Carr, and I'm inviting you to be inspired with me each weekday morning, starting at 5 a.m. with the Jacqueline Carr Show on Unity Radio. I'll get you going with the motivating words, special guests, and the absolute best inspirational music, and a few other surprises. But you got to tune in to Unity Radio every day at 5 a.m. to get your praise on. It's the Jacqueline Carr Show from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. right here on on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection, and also streaming on WUTY.org.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, host of Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9. Black in Business is a series of conversations with influential members of the Black business community. These entrepreneurs knows what it means to risk everything to create successful businesses and spark positive changes in the community. So join us. Again, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, right here on Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Support for Unity Radio 97.9 FM is provided by United Way of Central Mass, aiming to improve the community and break the cycle of poverty, and the Woosocks Foundation, seeking to make dreams come true for families in areas of education, social justice, recreation, and conquering cancer. Unity Radio, Worcester's Community Connection.
Activa la radio y Unity Radio 97.9 FM te invitan a escuchar el bloque latino todos los sábados de 7 de la mañana hasta la 1 de la tarde por los 97.9 FM en la ciudad de Worcester.
What's up, Worcester? It's your boy AG, better known as Angelo Gray. And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd, and joining us is the Honorable, one and only Jose Rivera, City Councilor, who's joining us here. I thought I would say that. And we're talking about how we're advancing the city of Worcester, how we're engaging the city of Worcester, and how important it is. Because I've spoken with a number of other city councilors and school committee members. This city is moving so fast, okay, on every spectrum, okay, when it comes to work, when it comes to development, when it comes to the education. You know about the realignment of the district, when so the parents, right. If you don't know, you're going to know sooner or later, right? And that's going to come up too as well. And we're addressing that with the school department. So I'm going to take it easy on that one, all right? So coming back to what we asked them earlier, okay, sustainable infrastructure and housing. I asked you about the Worcester continues to grow. What specific initiatives are you supporting to ensure new development includes affordable housing while also building sustainable and walkable neighborhoods? You answered that. Economic opportunity, where we left off before the break. What steps has the council taken to ensure the local, minority-owned, and small businesses directly benefit from the city's ongoing redevelopment projects? We mentioned about McKeedy and stuff like that. And he's doing a great job. Unfortunately, that little blip that took place, and I'm pretty sure he's going to correct it, and it's been addressed. And where do you go from there?
Well, I think what is important is people understand is that that blip happened prior. It has nothing to do with this project.
It just happened to come up.
I mean, it comes up because the people who are against it, that's what they're using.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? And it's not.
It's been corrected since then, though.
Not what they were fined and they were paid the fine, but there's still the process of going through the issue. You know,
with another project.
No, with that. Per se, it hasn't been.
Hasn't been resolved.
I think they're going through the process because appeals or whatever and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll wait till that takes place. Like that, in the process. But meanwhile, city's going to still keep moving on.
That's the key. Is let's move forward. Let's keep moving forward. Let's do whatever it takes to help the city thrive.
Right.
And I think as a city councilor, that's my job at least, is try to help the residents and be a part of the solution. Right.
So you are
positive change.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that positive change as we advance forward, and we have to, because you can spend so much time complaining, so much time arguing. And okay, you give it its due, but then after a while, you got to turn around and say, okay, how can we move forward? And what is your district, by the way? What's your district number, and what do you cover?
District 5 is kind of like the west side of the city.
What's that?
Yeah. So, but it kind of is broken up into weird, and the best way I can describe it is if you're on from Southwest Street, Jamesbury Street,
Sure.
on the left side,
Mhm.
all the way to past JC to Holden,
Mhm.
that's District 5.
We're near Assumption.
Yes, but Assumption across the street,
Street.
that's District 1.
Okay.
On the left side is District 5.
Mhm.
You're going up in that direction. But then you get over to, let's say, Doherty High School, Highland Street.
Sure.
On the left side, well, now if you're going that way, you're on the right side.
Mhm.
From Highland Street all the way to Pleasant Street, the Rotary.
Yes.
But then when you get to Pleasant Street, going towards Richards, between Richards and the Newton Square,
Yes.
that right side is also part of District 1,
Mhm.
all the way down to Highland Street,
Sure.
right? So on the Doherty side, Pleasant Street, left side, all the way past Richards Street, now both sides of Pleasant Street, all the way to Paxton, it's District 5. Then you cross over to Mill Street, June Street,
Mhm.
that area, Chandler Street, all the way, if you come down Park Ave, all the way down to Main Street, Cherry Valley, District 5.
Okay.
Stafford Street, take a left on James Street, all the way to Auburn, District 5. And then, we got Airport Hill, South High, God Memorial Drive, up, Pleasant Street, that side, towards Paxton again, Airport Hill area, Bailey, Leicester,
Mhm.
District 5.
So,
So it covers pretty wide range of the district and stuff.
you've been involved in a number of different projects when it comes to the meetings.
Yeah,
You have to go to all the different meetings
absolutely.
as a city councilor, and you have to hear the people. What seems to be the most popular comment or question that comes up when you go to a lot of these different meetings that are spread across your district?
I think their best quality of life issues for them is safe streets and sidewalk. So it comes down to streets and sidewalk, but more safe streets and sidewalk,
Mhm.
which is important. They just want their streets fixed. They want the sidewalks fixed. They want, they pay a good amount of taxes, for their homes, property taxes, and they want to make sure that their money is put to good use. If it's a winter time, they want to make sure the streets are plowed. They want to make sure that their trash and recycling is picked up at a appropriate time. They want to make sure that crime in the neighborhood is down. Quality of life issues, but streets and sidewalk is kind of like the big issue. If the kids go to the park, they want to make sure their parks are clean and they're safe.
Okay.
So when the residents in District 5 reach out to me, that's kind of like the focal point from them is what not. Then I reach out to the city. I said, okay, what can we do to help this resident with whatever their issue is at the time?
So when it comes down to the next question, community and transit connectivity, looking ahead, how can we better connect our neighborhoods to downtown, biotech, and educational hubs through improved public transportation and cycling infrastructure? We mentioned earlier, maybe off there, Mill Street.
Right.
How can we prevent another Mill Street?
I would say that we've learned from Mill Street. And I can honestly say that because I've seen the moving forward part of what's going to happen there. And I think, and I've spoken with a lot of the residents in the neighborhood about it, and nobody has complained when they hear of what's going to be moved in the final phase of it. But there will be public meetings. I'm making sure that the residents know about that. And I think, bike lanes are appropriate, but it has to be common sense as well, with the neighborhood at the front end of it. And that's what's important to me as far as making sure that there's public meetings, but regardless of how long it takes, there's going to be a stretch for it. They're going to be happy that they're going to be a part of it. And the results of the work is going to be common sense approach on. You have the bike lanes, who are going to be happy. And then you have the residents who are going to be able to use the sidewalk because it's going to be a multi-purpose sidewalk with a bike lane at the end. Mm-hmm. And the residents who can walk, even wheelchairs and stuff like that. And then the cars back an inch from the curb, mm-hmm. where they're supposed to be, in the middle of the street.
Okay.
You still have the one lane, And then obviously it's still going to be 25 miles per hour enforced.
And it seems as though that plan can work. Okay, as far as
yeah.
sharing all those amenities. Okay,
Yeah.
Sidewalk, bicycle lane, and or jogging lane.
Yeah.
Parking.
Yep.
And also slowing down the speed limit.
There you go.
I think maybe people may not have a question in reference to that, except the fact that if you're going to change the structure of the highway, if you will,
Right.
or the roadway,
right?
Maybe there should be a warning in place prior to inform people, hey, this operation of how this road is going to take place is going to change.
Right.
And then during the construction, it's going to change.
Yeah.
And afterwards, by the way, it changed.
It changed, yeah.
And hang on to that for a little bit till it recycles, until everybody's been through a number of times over the year. Then you realize, then everybody's going to say, okay, we get it now. You know,
Well,
but when you caught people by surprise,
right.
not you, but
Right.
caught people by surprise. But I understand that you put in something initiative to say, hey, if we're going to make this change, we should warn the people,
We should
let them
people
know that this 2-lane for years
Yeah.
is going to come down to 1 lane.
Well, I think that was part of the 2023. It actually became a real hot topic in the campaign, you know, and it was like, you know, because I was running against the incumbent at the time, and she was real supportive of the job, but also, you know, through apparently she was caught by surprise as well that there was no public hearing. And then apparently she had to ask for a public hearing. It just happened to come after I put in a petition to ask the city of Worcester to put a stop to their, not the paving of the street, because that was needed and that was part of the job anyways. It was just to put a stop to the reconfiguration ideas that they had put in place until they have a public meeting.
It would make
And-
sense because of the fact when I went down that road and I saw the cars floating from the sidewalk, traditionally your eye is like, oh, we accustomed we park next to the curb, right?
Sure.
Then when I saw it floating from the sidewalk and it looks the way you come down, especially at night too.
Right.
And if you're not looking and paying attention, you're used to a 2-lane,
Yeah.
people are smashing into other cars and smashing like, why is this thing here? What's going on here?
Right.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the city had, you know, I think every decision the city makes is with the right type of
Good
mindset.
intentions. Okay.
They try good intentions, right?
Right.
But it just didn't work for Mill Street, and it didn't work. I mean, I don't know if they have it anywhere else in the city of Worcester besides Mill Street, so I can't say it doesn't work in Worcester. I can't say that, but I can say it didn't work there. I think they see that, and plus the moving forward reconfiguration, it's a much more safer, much more friendlier, neighborhood friendly resolution, and it kind of helps, or it kind of resolves an issue for all sides. You know, you got the bikes lane, you got the walking, you got, you know, amenable, the sidewalk, which is for, you know, if you have wheelchairs or if you,
Of course.
you know, so to be able to put something like that together, I had to commend the city for, you know, I don't want to say they say they made a mistake. I just say, like, moving forward, they found this way much more safe and better, especially for Mill Street.
Okay.
You know, especially we at the end we have the Coles Beach and pond, stuff like that. I mean,
Very popular place.
very
at some point.
popular with kids and stuff. Much more safer. I think it'd be great.
So if people are interested in getting in contact with you, City Councilman
Yes.
Jose Rivera, how can they reach you?
There's 2 ways they can reach me. Well, besides I'm on social media, but anytime they have a city issue or concern, I always give them my email, which is riveraja@worcesterma.gov, right? And then my number is 774-764-1920. And I always tell them to reach out anytime. For me, I know that city council job is you know, it's a part-time job and stuff like that, but I see the amount of work it takes. There's no way we can do this work on a part-time basis. This is a full-time for me. And I'm always available. I'm always reaching out. You know, if the city of Worcester is learning that they're getting my emails on Saturdays and Sundays, because that's when they reach out to me. So I reach out to them. I know I'm not going to get a response from the city till Monday, but on Monday morning, I'm already waiting because I already know I have a checklist of all the issues and concerns that the residents have that I sent to them over the weekend that I'm hoping that we can get started as early as possible. You know?
Who knows in the future? It might be a full-time situation because position because it is in some communities throughout the country where being a city councilman full-time, school committee full-time.
Yeah.
It's involved, especially whereas if you're going to say it's part-time, but yet you have a full-time job and you have a family and you're trying to go to meet and exceed all those meetings. Where do you have room to rest? You know.
There you go. It just definitely takes a lot of work that you want to make sure that you're invested for. You know, and because I love working with people and helping people and being their customer service representative, then I don't mind, working late hours and weekends and stuff because it's what I signed up for. You know.
Well, congratulations for being newly appointed as a city councilor right here.
Thank
It's
you.
always good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Jose Rivera is joining us, Worcester City Councilor. And I'm Ernie Floyd, and you listen to Future Focus Worcester right here on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.
Unity Radio. Worcester, we got you.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Q, host of the Woo 508. I'm here with
your girl Liza, Miss Consistency.
And it's your girl Chantel in the building.
Yes, y'all. Go ahead and follow us everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Woo 508. That's THEWOO 508. Woo!
Roll me a phone. Step into the room. Now you're in the zone.
Recreation Worcester is a free year-round program for youth run by the City of Worcester. The program enriches this city's youth in athletics, arts, academics, and social-emotional learning activities. Food is provided for free of charge for all youth participating in the program. Learn more at the Worcester Recreation website, www.worcesterma.gov/recreation-worcester. That's www.worcesterma.gov/recreation-worcester.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need, right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
Tune into the Sustainable Life with Susan Hewlett, and together we will find our way to a healthier, healing lifestyle by listening to empowering stories of overcoming our struggles. Join me, Susan Hewlett, on the Sustainable Life every Wednesday from 5 to 6 on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. See you soon.
You're listening to Unity 97.9 FM, WUTY, Worcester.
Hey, welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And we have an opportunity to speak with Jose Rivera, City Councilor, right here on Future Focus Worcester. And we had a series of questions that we asked him, actually 3 in particular. And also we have future focus programs going in the future. And we're going to ask those same questions for all the city councilors and all the school committee members that are coming through. Obviously, the school committee members that are coming through will have a different array of questions. There'll be 3. And it's going to be related to education. I really highly encourage people to listen to our program. So on Mondays, and also you can go to WTY.org and you can find our schedule for our up and coming shows and all our daily shows that take place here on Unity Radio. The purpose of the Future Focus show really is to inform the people, which is you. It's very important that if you're here in the city of Worcester, and if you live here, you don't work here, there's a lot of changes that's going to take place right here in the city of Worcester. You're probably saying, oh, I didn't know that. Well, I'm here to share it with you. And what it is the fact that when it comes to the government, when it comes to residency, when it comes to development, and it comes to living here in the city of Worcester and or working here in the city of Worcester, there's a number of things that are taking place when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to building, when it comes to development. And those particular things, you say, what in particular? Well, making housing affordable. That was what's discussed when it comes to the city councilors, how they're going to push that agenda, making housing affordable. Worcester, as we all know, is a hotspot when it comes to housing, when it comes to property development. But at the same time, there have been a number of people who've lived here in the city of Worcester for a very long time, raised their families here, and generation after generation. And when the new developers are coming in and the investors are coming in and they want to build these properties, build these buildings, these dwellings, they call it, on these properties, it's important that city council makes sure that it comes with these procurements, in other words, these rules or these policies, that if they're going to build these apartments, whether it's 200 units, 300 units, that they leave room for affordable housing, they leave room for medium or average wage people that are making a living here in the city of Worcester, to make sure they're not left out or priced out. That's the whole purpose of that is. And also it comes with other different rules as well. In order to find out what they are, you have to go to City Hall, check out the City Hall meetings and that take place, or also check out the school committee meetings held at the same location, City Hall, downtown Worcester, to find out what's happening when it comes to housing, when it comes to development here in the city of Worcester. Because other questions that were asked to the city councilors was, What is it in the fact that when it comes to building something or starting a business, where do I go? What do I do? And the center focus has always been City Hall. And then when you go there at City Hall to start the process, then what happens is basically, hopefully, they'll direct you to the right department. They'll let you know that if you're interested in building, then you go left. If you're interested in services, then you go right. And where else you need to go. And if you want to comment on something that's really strong on your heart when it comes to your community, then of course you'll have to know when city council sessions are taking place down at City Hall. And I recommend that you go to City Hall or go into the City Hall website to find out those announcements and that information that pertains to you and or your community is very important for that. Once again, I'm Ernie Floyd. You listen to Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And we have a show called Future Focus Worcester. And we invite city councilors in the first section of our program. And in the second section of our program, we have school committee members that come in. We're going to ask them a series of questions on how they're moving the city forward when it comes to education. There's a lot of development that's taking place when it comes to education here in the city of Worcester. Did you know or have you heard about the realignment of the city that's going to take place when it comes to education, when it comes to the residencies, when it comes to our young people attending the middle schools, attending the high schools? Yeah, there's a lot of movement that's going to take place. You should be aware of it or get ahead of it because it's going to affect every single resident here in the city of Worcester as they start to realign the city of Worcester. And some people might say, what are you talking about, realign the city of Worcester? Yeah, how you live and where you live right now may change of this new realignment. So for instance, just a small example, if you live in this neighborhood, wherever neighborhood you may be, and we'll say your neighbor across the street, you and that neighbor or your children and your neighbor's children attend the same school. Could be the same middle school, wherever that may be throughout the city of Worcester. Doesn't mean that that's going to take place when the new development takes place, which will be 2027, 28 when it comes to that. But as they're making these decisions, there's a number of meetings taking place across the city of Worcester as well. Check in with the school department. Check in with the city of Worcester to find out what they're talking about realignment. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that in some sense that your neighbor and or their children and your children are going to be attending the same school in the future. They may be attending another school across town, and you may be attending the same school, or depending on how they do the district, you may be attending a different school across town, and they may be staying at the same school as well. And you probably say, well, Ernie Floyd, what are you talking about? Well, listen to the realignment that's going to take place. It's already in process, and the development and the procurement will take place when it comes to realignment. As far as the neighborhoods, as far as transportation, it's going to be a ripple effect. They have what they call the Parent Information Center. It's located on Main Street near Jacob Hyatt. Go to that red brick building near the YMCA, another landmark for you to know. Parent Information Center, go right there, and they should be more than happy to share with you the information when it comes to education and the realignment. So as I said before, Future Focus Worcester is a show that takes place right here on Unity Radio. We have a city councilor that talks to us in the first half, and we have a school committee member who will be joining us real soon in the second half, and I'll introduce you to her once she arrives there, and we're going to continue discussion about education and how we're moving the city of Worcester forward right here on Unity Radio. So thank you for joining us. We're going to come back. We're going to have some more information for you on Unity Radio. I'm Ernie Floyd, and this is the Future Focus Show on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.
Unity Radio. Worcester, we got you.
Activa la radio y Unity Radio 97.9 FM te invitan a escuchar el bloque latino todos los sábados de 7 de la mañana hasta la 1 de la tarde por los 97.9 FM en la ciudad de Worcester.
Hi, I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show on Unity Radio 97.9. Join me and my guest as we discuss topics on embracing our diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Support for Unity Radio 97.9 FM is provided by Ruth H. and Warren A. Ellsworth Foundation, established in 1964, focusing on education, social services, and youth aid, and the Mildred H. McAvoy Foundation, giving primarily to health, educational, cultural, and human service organizations. Unity Radio, Worcester's community connection.
Unity Radio is streaming at WTY979fm.org. We'd like to thank our listeners and supporters.
Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. Recruit, retain, incubate. WorcesterChamber.org. And the Worcester Bravehearts baseball team. WorcesterBravehearts.com.
Unity Radio, Worcester's community connection.
You're listening to Unity Radio, Worcester's community connection.
Welcome back to Future Focus Worcester. As we promised, as we deliver, Maureen Binienda is joining us right here on Future Focus Worcester. And we're going to be talking about the school committee and its future as far as educational planning right here in the city of Worcester, as far as actionable and forward thinking. When it comes to that, Maureen, I know that's what you're all about. I've known you for a very, very long time as well. And thank you for joining us here on Future Focus Worcester. Let's get right into it, okay?
Yes.
Infrastructure and capacity. As Worcester continues to grow, how is the school committee planning to adapt the school infrastructure and staffing to support the influx of new families over the next 5 years?
So first of all, we have the strategic plan that goes 2 more years beyond where we are now. And so that strategic plan really did set a forward motion for what school committee as well as the administration are supposed to do in order to meet the needs of our students. I think the Worcester Public Schools does a great job of meeting the needs of families. I spent 46 years in the Worcester Public Schools, and I was always proud and still am proud of the work that every teacher does, every administrator does, central office staff does to meet the needs of our students. So we have a lot of experience in the Worcester Public Schools, a lot of skilled people that work there. I mean, we have been able to, at a moment's notice, for example, when the planes came to Worcester from Minnesota, where the Afghanistan students were, and it was getting too cold and they had to come to another place, get off the base. We only had a 2-day notice when all the families came from, Afghanistan. And the same thing, we at one time had 2 bus loads of Brazilians, as well as a plane that landed in Worcester Airport. And we had to, right away meet the needs of the families and the students. We moved our parent information center to both locations where the Brazilian students were in a Brazilian church, and the city had moved the Afghanistan children to the hotel. And so we set up all those services that we needed right there for those families and those students. So I think we are in very good shape to handle whatever comes our way, simply because of the skills of our workforce.
Yeah, I totally agree. Worcester has always been a welcoming city. Mm-hmm. When it's been called upon from the governor, in some instances from Boston, to say, okay, we have these families coming into the state. Can you house them? What can you do? And I know that Worcester puts their hands up and says, okay, let's go, let's welcome and let's place them. And you gave a prime example of that just there, and I really appreciate that. Once again, Maureen Binienda is joining us, school committee member right here in the city of Worcester, and you listen to Future Focus Worcester with Ernie Floyd on UDC 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And our next question is Future Ready Education. What specific initiatives are being prioritized to ensure Worcester Public Schools students are prepared for the city's evolving economic landscape, particularly in the fields such as biotech and technology?
So that's my favorite question. As having been, at South High Community School for 38 years, when I became principal, and also when I was a teacher and assistant principal, I was thinking, how can we make education more relevant for our students? So when I got to be superintendent and the DESE came out with a grant, we were the first district in Massachusetts to get the early college program. So the early college program is where students can take college credits while they're still in high school. They are also able to get an associate's degree as well as graduate from high school if they get the right number of credits. So number one, we're giving students the college experience. Number two, I put Chapter 74 programs in more of the high schools. So because Worcester Tech always has a very long waiting list. And so the idea was, well, let's put Chapter 74 in the high school. So South High has 4 Chapter 74 programs. Doherty has 4 Chapter 74 programs. And I'm sure we'll put some different 74s when the new Burncoat comes online. North High does have a health Chapter 74 program also. So then we were the first district that also got the Innovative Pathways Grant, which allowed all those students who did not get into the Chapter 74 in the high schools or at Worcester Tech after school to take courses and get their certifications, their OSHA certifications and their other certifications in many areas like biotech at Worcester Tech afternoons after they'd finished their school day.
Yeah, just in case for people who may not know what 744 is, there could be an apartment number for all we know.
Oh, yeah, that's
so what is 744?
So Chapter 74 programs are programs that you go into the programs to learn a certain skill. So for example, at South High, they have a culinary program. So you can go into that program just like if you were in a Chapter 74 high school like Worcester Tech and get all of your certifications, your training, so that when you go out, you can actually go into the job.
Mm-hmm. What a great idea to implement the 744 programs in the other high schools.
Yes.
Because at one time I mentioned earlier when Worcester Tech was located downtown near Main Street, in the older building. And at one time there was some rumor here and there that people thought that they didn't take education serious in the sense that, oh, that must be nice, part education, part trade. And people looked upon that as probably not an advantage at that time for some reason or another. And all of a sudden, Mr. Ted Coughlin and yourself and others got involved. And before you know it, the new Worcester Technical High School was built up there on the hill. And before you know it, it became so popular to get into that school, to the fact that the waiting list was so long that they knew that students were not going to be able to be there in time for them to be allowed to go to the school. So that's why he took the 744 and said, you know something, let's not just hold it at Worcester Technical High School. Let's spread it to North. Let's spread it to South. And let's spread it to Doherty as well. And pretty soon when the new Burncoat comes on board, that should be exciting too as well. What do you think they're going to go with the new Burncoat as far as the technical and the education component compared to all the other schools?
I'm not sure because the state is very strict on how many Chapter 74 programs you can have in one area. So for example, when we did the culinary at South, we had to do a study to prove that there were enough restaurants and that was a need in our area. So because of that, that's why Worcester Tech, Worcester Voc, and South both have culinary. So it depends upon what's available through DESE. I mean, I would imagine, Burncoat has the arts magnet. They have a fantastic arts magnet there. So maybe something, in that line, or maybe some more biotech. Biotech is taught at Doherty. It's also at Worcester Tech. So I guess we'd have to see what that community is interested in and what they're allowed to take.
In biotech class, example of a biotech class, what'd you say?
So you learn biology and technology together.
Okay. So the last question, how can community members, particularly those listening to the station right here at Unity Radio, get more involved in shaping the future of district policy and the long-term vision for Worcester schools?
So I think they should read the school committee agenda that comes out every 2 weeks. They should go online and pay attention to the subcommittee meetings and the school committee meetings. And they should get involved in their local school because we have school councils at every school. And that's where some decision making is made. And that information then comes to the school committee. So there are so many avenues that they could get involved in, and we would appreciate their input.
And by you just saying that, please embellish on the fact on how fast education is moving when it comes to the realignment. That's going to be the huge word coming in the next couple of years, this realignment. For those who may not know, and for those who may know, It's going to be confusing at first, but please tell us about a little bit about this realignment that's taking place. This process has actually started now.
Yeah, because the reason that's happening is that there are some schools that are very overcrowded, and there are some schools that aren't. So in order to provide education for every student with the right number of students in a class so they can learn better, we have to look at changing some of the lines.
Yep. And a prime example is, let's take Rice Square, for example. What took place there? Because some people that were accompanied with Rice Square, their child, it's been a history of people going there for a number of years. And all of a sudden, 6th grade was immense, okay, to say the least. And then they had to remove 6th grade due to what?
Because there were too many students in the school. So 6th grade moved to Worcester East Middle, and it has been very successful. So what happens is that housing projects get built, and then schools get overwhelmed. That where, because there are so many children that usually come with housing projects, and then there's a need that you have to redistrict those schools because it's just too overcrowded. Rice Square had students learning in the corridors. They were in the auditorium. They were in the cafeteria, in spaces that I don't think are conducive to optimal learning.
Yeah. We didn't hear about that in the past, or was it in the past, and was it just progressing and then finally just came to the top here?
Yeah, certainly when I was superintendent, there were a lot of students there, but not where they had lots of spaces. Like they had a science lab there. That science lab is no longer there. So, large number of families can move into a neighborhood at any time. And when that happens, then you have overcrowding at the schools that are associated with that neighborhood.
Is that due to the development of some of the housing? When
Yes.
people come to the Worcester and people get excited, oh, they're going to bring in affordable housing, or this project's going to bring in 200 units or 300 units in that particular neighborhood. So I don't hear that ripple effect, but now I'm starting to hear that ripple effect. It's not mentioned in the same conversation.
Well, there was just a big community meeting regarding a very large complex being built at Newton Square. And there was a whole meeting in the Doherty quadrant about that, and how is that going to affect the number of students that would go to all the schools on that side of the city.
So how people can get in contact with you? And before you go, what is your district? Are you at large, or do you have a district?
I'm at large,
Okay.
so the whole city. And they could just go to the Worcester School Committee page, and I answer my email. So my email is there. They can also call me if they're interested. That's also posted.
Yeah. So we asked you a series of questions really quick for those that just joined us before we go. Infrastructure and capacity, future-ready education, community engagement. And before you go, what have you been hearing mostly upon when it comes to education to our students right here in Worcester Public Schools? What's been the common theme?
I think the common theme has been that students feel that they belong, they're important, and that their culture of their schools is great, and that there are many opportunities for staff for their professional development, but also a lot of opportunities for students. And our job is to continue to try to improve the communication so that students and families know what's available.
Maureen Binienda, we really appreciate you for coming here for Future Focus Worcester, because your information is really valuable for our listeners. And don't be a stranger and come back again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, Maureen Binienda, school committee member at large right here on Future Focus Worcester, and I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.